Welcome to CAD Corner. In this video, I will explain to you how to set up the layers in AutoCAD and how to manage the layers properly. As you can see on the screen, we have a building plan that contains wall, dimensions, text, doors, windows and other objects. Each of the objects have their own layer property. So imagine drawing an entire building on a layer, on just one layer. So if you want to add the dimensions, hide the dimensions, change the colors of the wall, or prevent your text from being accidentally removed, it becomes difficult because when you select that layer, it highlights every other drawing on the screen. So we have to differentiate the layers. So this is why AutoCAD uses layer properties. So layers are like transparent sheets placed on top of one another. Different types of layers can be placed on different layers, allowing us to control their appearances and visibility. So we have layer like, so for a building plan now, we have walls, doors, windows, dimension, text, grid, center lines and lights. So each of these layers, now will be like an identification for the objects that we want. So it will be layer against objects. So if we say walls, we are going to create a different layer for the walls. If we say the doors, we are going to create a different layer for the doors. If we say the dimension, creating a different layer for the dimension. So just place your cursor on the wall and you are going to see the layer property of the wall. This is its color. Color is white. The line type by layer and the layer is white. Now let's go to the window. This is the window, the layer property of the window. Now let's go to the arching. See, this is the arching. This is the dimension. And this is the text. Now let's locate our layer. So we can go to the ribbon tab where we are going to get our layer property, or we can come to the command line. Go to the command line, type LA, enter, and we are going to have the layers. The layers here now are for the existing drawings that we have here, but for the purpose of this video, for practical purpose, we are going to create new layers, new line type, line width and other object properties for our drawing. So to create a new layer now, we are going to click on Alt plus N. That's the shortcut, Alt on your keyboard plus N. So now let's create a new layer. Come down. See, we have now I'm having something like layer 4. Now make sure you are not saving your layers as layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. Don't just name your layers randomly. Use names that immediately tells you what object belongs to that layer. Like we can use the wall, the door, the dimension, the text, so it will be easy to locate when you are actually using them in your drawing. So this now I'm going to use wall because I have another wall existing before. I'm going to use to differentiate from other layer properties here. I'm going to use m.wall. That is it. This is the new layer that has been created. Now we've created the wall. Now let's assign a color to it. So we see for our wall, the existing color of the wall is white, so we are going to use blue for the purpose of this video. Okay, so you do the same thing for all other layer that you created, maybe for wall, for windows, for the doors, for the dimension, for the text. You create new layers for each of them and then set your color. Layer colors make it much more easier to visually distinguish between the types of the objects while working. So now let's set the line type. This is the line type here. This is the line type. As you can see, we have different line types on the screen, but because we are dealing with a wall, so we have to take a continuous line. This is a continuous line. So the kind of object you are creating the layer for determines the properties that you are selecting. Okay, and in case you don't have enough lines like this, you can load for more. So as we have more lines here, you can as well load different lines. Okay, and load for more. Okay, so the line width now, the line width from the default to the line width 2.11 mm, but we are going to just leave it to this. Okay, now we've created the line type, we've created the line width. So like let's understand the important layer control. As you can see, we have this. So we have to, and also this. So this is the on and off. As you can see, this is the on and off. All dimensions object disappear. So when you turn it on or turn it off, that means you are turning off the entire drawing that you must have highlighted on that layer. So the next one is freeze. This one, this freeze is another way to remove a layer from view, but it is particularly useful for controlling which layer AutoCAD needs to process and display. The next one is the lock. Now with this you can lock maybe whatever property that you want. You can lock the word property, or maybe the text property, the dimension property, whatever. You can lock a property. So locking a layer is useful when you want to see the object, but you don't want to accidentally move, erase or modify them. You don't want it to move, or you don't want it to get scattered. You have to lock that particular layer or that particular object so it doesn't move or get accidentally modified. So the next one is plot. As you can see, we have a symbol for like a printing machine to plot. Some layers may be useful while working but shouldn't appear in the final printed drawing. You see, like for the construction lines, those are the ones we use when we are drawing, but we don't really need it, the construction lines or all those other tools when we want to print, or maybe in the final drawing. So that is what the plot is. So you are going to select the one to plot and the one you are not to plot. So that's just the usefulness of the plot. So, and it is mostly used in maybe with construction lines, temporary ground, or all these reference points. That's it. So now we've explained the on and off, the freeze, the lock. Now let's create new layers again. So create another layer. We have layer 4 again. Erase. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using M dot. Now let's create a layer for window. Now this is a window. Now the color, change the color to red and change to whatever color that suits the specification. Since this is we are dealing with window, we are going to leave it to continuous line and the line type to be 0. So now we've created the layer for wall. I denoted it with M dot wall. We've created the layer for window, M dot window, to differentiate it from the existing walls and existing window on this drawing. So you can create more, just follow the same step. So you can create for grid lines. When you know that you are creating for grid line, your line type is going to be short dashes. When you are creating for construction line, you are going to have a different line type. For some other objects, your line width will change like that. So you have to take note of that. So let's move on to using the layers while drawing. So we are going to draw a very quick, maybe just a room. So I'm going to use this wall. You have to right click and then click on set as current. When you set as current, automatically AutoCAD will change all wall property to the layer you just selected. You see, under the layer it is already M1, but here you see it is still showing another color. So click on the object color and set it to ByLayer. So click on ByLayer and then automatically the color changes. So now let's draw a quick room. Click on line, say specify the first point. You see we're having the blue line. So let's follow the dimension from this place. We have so 3 3 0 0, enter. Let's move it closer. So now we are going to offset 225. Now 3, the dimension 3525, enter. Offset 225. So let's duplicate this to the other side. So let's just mirror it to the other side. We do the same thing for this, mirror to the other side. Now we have a room using the wall property that we just created. I'm using the wall property that we just created. So now let's use the window. Now this is the window. Now we've automatically clicked on the window and then we have it is already set to current. So for the window, because our window is always at the center, so this offset, if you are using a 1000 window, to be 500 on both sides, then we can trim. Now with the layer property that we created for our wall and for our window, this is the wall and this is our window. Now we've created a room using the layer property for the wall we just created and the window. So if we are to create have a text in this to identify this room, like a bedroom or a dimension, we are going to have to create layers for each of them, and whatever color we use is going to be represented in this drawing. Each of every object we use is going to have different layers. Now you can as well change an object to another layer without having to create new layers. So now let's do that. You see, there's another important skill that you should know. You don't have to delete an object or redraw it just because it is on the wrong layer. You can simply select it and assign it to the correct layer. So this is the existing drawing. We have a white line with a different line width. You can simply select it and assign it to the other layer that you want. So you can just use the match property shortcut for match property, click on MA in your command line. It says select the object source and you can select the destination. That is for that. Also, we have the layer isolation. Now we are going to use this drawing to practicalize the layer isolation. So now let's click on the text. You see this is the M text. So we go to the layer tool because we want to isolate the text. We want to isolate the text. We go back to the layer property. We locate the text. This is the text. And we can freeze it. When we freeze, what do you notice? Every text property is gone. Every text property is gone. Now let's do the same thing for the windows. For the windows, just click on it. This is the window. We go back to the layer property again. Locate the windows. We freeze the window, and they are all gone. So it allows us to isolate the useful layers. So maybe when we need to keep an object, just isolate it, we hide it, and then we clear the other drawings on the screen and bring the layers back. That is, we are going to unfreeze them. Layer isolate is useful when we are working on a complicated drawing and want to focus on one category of objects. So that is it. So now to restore the object, we go back to the layer property again. To the layer property, we locate the text. Now we unfreeze. The text is back. Now we go to the window, and then we unfreeze again, and the text is back. So this restores the previous isolated drawing. And that is how we set up and manage layers in AutoCAD. Remember, a good layer system isn't just about giving objects different colors. It is about organizing your drawing so that you can easily control, edit, hide, lock, and plot different parts of your drawing. If you are learning AutoCAD, subscribe to CAD Corner for more practical tutorials, engineering drawing techniques, tips, and real-world CAD workflow. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification button. Thank you.